So today I'm joined by Steve Orenstein, CEO and founder of Zoom2u Technologies. Steve, how are you?
Good to be here.
How has the business been performing over the last quarter?
Yeah, it's been a really busy quarter, as every quarter usually is. We've made a lot of improvements to the Locate2u product, and we've been working really hard on sort of building out some really great features for our customers. And so it's great to see some really good customers come on board this quarter, but also like in the Zoom2u business, seeing some real improvements in terms of the operational side of things. We've had some cost efficiencies inside of the business. And this quarter was the largest revenue quarter for Locate2u, so over $500,000 for the quarter, which is really nice to see that business continuing to grow. We've continued to optimize our cost base as well, so the business is tracking in the right direction. And when I think about where we wanted to be at the beginning of the quarter to where we are now, it's exactly where we had planned to be. So it's really great to see that business is on track.
Sounds really exciting. Sounds like the company's headed in the right direction. So just going back to where you mentioned cost-based reductions, what were you referring to there?
Yeah, so we have made some improvements in our cost base, and some of those areas have been around sort of how we spend our marketing dollars, but also our staff cost. Our staff costs are the biggest element of our cost base today, and we have made some staff reductions and continue to make those as we did in previous quarters. And so, that's always challenging removing different staff members, but I think it's the right thing that we needed to do to really make sure that when we're spending money, we're getting a return on that investment. Those reductions have been seen in some of the customer service areas, but also a little bit in development and also in the sales side of the business. So it's been in all aspects, and really just making sure that if we're spending money, we're going to get a return on that investment.
Yeah, okay. So do you feel that has impacted the staff morale at all?
It's always challenging when you're removing staff, and I think we're very mindful as a business as to when we're doing that to make sure that we really communicate to our staff as to what's actually happened. I think anytime you remove staff, the morale will be impacted and staff will get concerned. And I think the key thing that I think about through that process is that we communicate, we let people know the reasons as to why we're doing this, and making sure that people think about what the long-term vision of what we're building inside of the business, and that we're focused on those goals. And for me personally, it's the worst part of the job of having to let someone go. But what I think about is making sure that we've got an entire company, there's 80 people, and we want this company to be very successful into the future. And sometimes that means making really difficult decisions.
Yeah, that's understandable. So just going back to the Locate2u product now, you mentioned some new enhancements. Can you elaborate on that a little bit at all?
Yeah, so we've been working really hard on a number of key features inside of the Locate2u platform. And when I think about the platform today, there's a number of different aspects in terms of what we're actually building. We've got the GPS tracking side of things, we've got the booking management for companies that are managing their own fleet of their own drivers for deliveries. And there's a number of other areas that we're starting to build out this ecosystem of this platform. And so one of the key areas that we're doing is around a rates and billing engine. And this is going to allow companies that are courier businesses to be able to use our platform. So today, if you're a business that's managing your own fleet of your own drivers, Locate2u works really well. It does things like route optimization, it gives the live tracking to your customers, but it doesn't allow a courier company to use it because it doesn't actually allow them to actually bill their customers. And so we're building that, and we're very close from having that to be released out to the market. And so it's going to be really nice seeing courier businesses start to use it, and that's going to flow into our carrier module that we're building. And so right now, if you're running your own fleet of your own drivers, Locate2u is great. But if you get overflow work, and if you're a business where you have a large amount of volume on certain days and you don't have capacity inside of your own network, essentially your customers suffer. You don't get that product delivered to your customers. And so with our carrier module, it will allow you to actually connect with other carriers in your area. And that's going to be a global platform. And so we'll integrate with the likes of Zoom2u in Australia and Uber, but also many other carriers across the world. And so these retail and e-commerce businesses will have the ability to make sure that their product actually gets delivered every single day when they want it to be delivered. And so it's really exciting, I guess, the building out of the ecosystem and the connection of all these different modules together, and ultimately the impact that this is going to have on customers receiving their product and these e-commerce and retail businesses using the Locate2u platform.
Yeah, great. I can imagine that would be really helpful for businesses not having to bring on additional contractors and vehicles during those peak periods like Black Friday, Christmas, etc.
Yeah, definitely. And we've seen it even in our Zoom2u business. There's times where we hit capacity, and you hit capacity based on different days of the week, based on different things that are happening. And ultimately, at the end of the day, those deliveries don't get delivered to the customer, so the customer suffers. And so when we've been thinking about how we're building Locate2u, it's like, how do we solve these problems for delivery businesses, but also e-commerce and retail businesses to make sure product gets delivered, but solving this at a global level. And that's where we've come up with this idea around this carrier integration and doing that for fast deliveries as well as next day type and slower delivery services.
Okay, that sounds like quite a unique proposition when combined with other features of the software. So thinking about the market and your competitors, how does Locate2u stack up?
Yeah, so there's a number of different competitor products in the market, but for different aspects of what we do. So we do GPS tracking, lots of competitors in that space, but we also do route optimization, and there's some competitors in that space, but it's the connection of all these products together and all these features together that actually builds the Locate2u platform. And I'm yet to see anyone that's doing exactly what we're doing today and what we're planning on doing into the future. And so yes, there's competitors in different aspects, but not as a whole in terms of what we're building. So it's going to be interesting to see the impact of some of these new enhancements that are coming out into the product.
Yeah, I can imagine it's very helpful for businesses to be able to use one software rather than splitting across various softwares.
Yeah, and it was, even last week I was speaking to a current customer and they're using multiple different products to do different things, and they're going to be they're looking to migrate into the Locate2u system, particularly with some of these new features that we're building, and it will give them a single solution to run their entire business. And so from their point of view, it means they've got this one platform that's going to have some cost savings for their business, but also it means they don't have this overhead of managing multiple different products in their business. So it makes it much easier.
Now, just in terms of distribution for Locate2u, is there any way growth could be sped up globally?
Yeah, so it's all good and well that you build this amazing product, but the successful software companies are the ones that build a great product, but also have ways of being able to distribute that product. And so we're very focused around our content strategy, and we've been working on that now for over 6 months and probably closer to 12 months in terms of making sure that we're building really high quality written content, but as well as video content. And so you think about YouTube. YouTube's the second largest search engine. You now go to YouTube and search for things like route optimization. You'll see that one of our videos actually comes up on that number 1 or number 2 in the search results. And this is something that's this is a video that we released 6 months ago. So it's very difficult, it takes a lot of time and effort to do this, but this content strategy is really starting to play out, and we're going to start seeing some results from that work that we're doing. So content is one part of it, but also the building out of the functionality that we're doing and the ecosystem that creates. You'll have courier companies that will use Locate2u to actually manage all of their own bookings and use Locate2u to do route optimization. But then for other of their customers to be able to connect in with Locate2u to allow them to actually connect with those courier companies. So there's a bit to that, but the ecosystem is definitely going to help with us in distribution and connecting with accounting engines, but also other e-commerce platforms like Shopify. Definitely gets you access to more customers. And so yeah, we've definitely got a strategy around that, and we're seeing that sort of play out. And it's nice to see some of those things starting to start happening, like those YouTube videos.
Great, it's always exciting to see hard work come to fruition. So now just touching on your M&A strategy, the latest acquisition was Talksoft last year. What is your thoughts on M&A moving forward?
Yeah, so the acquisition of Talksoft was a really great acquisition. It was really nice, seeing how the team's been able to integrate into our business. They're working on the Locate2u code base. They're helping us build out a number of these key features in the product. And so really happy with how that's gone. What I want to make sure is that when we do future acquisition is that they make sense for the business, and it's going to allow us to move ahead in certain areas of the product faster. And so it's not just about acquiring revenue, it's about acquiring maybe likely some revenue, but also some additional intellectual property that's going to become part of the Locate2u business. And so we consistently keep on looking at things. We haven't found anything that makes sense right now. I think over the next 6 to 12 months, there's likely to be more opportunity. I think the valuations of private companies are still probably too high, and I think they will start to come down over the next sort of 6 to 12 months. So we're actively looking, happy to see what's out there, and we'll make those decisions as they come up.
So it's now been 2 years since you listed the company. What have you learnt throughout this transition?
So the other thing I've learned is, having a really good team around you, having a really great CFO, so Michael, our CFO, knowing that I've got someone part of our team who can look after the compliance and the finance side of things and allowing me to focus on the building of the business has been really, really valuable. And also, our board, having a board that's really focused on the growing of the business and the strategizing of what we're building has created a lot of value in what we're doing. So yeah, I think there's lots of things that we've learned along the way, and it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out over the years ahead.
That sounds really good. It sounds like you've got a really capable team around you, which obviously makes the work a little bit more enjoyable. So just switching to AI now, everyone's talking about it, specifically ChatGPT. Where does AI fit moving forward in the Zoom2u business?
Yeah, so ChatGPT and what's happening with AI is really interesting, and I think every technology business is actively sort of watching what's happening in this space. As to the timing as to where this is going to play out in terms of helping our business, whether that's the next 3 months, 6 months or 12 months, it's definitely in this sort of time window, I think. And I think when we look at the Zoom2u business, there's lots of elements around customer service, and AI is going to be able to improve that dramatically. And a lot of those conversations around, can you give me a quote or can you answer this type of question, AI is going to be able to assist with doing that. And we're going to have the ability to be able to integrate that technology into the Zoom2u business. And one of the great things around having the Zoom2u business is that it's allowed us to take a lot of the learnings in that business to building the Locate2u product. Locate2u wouldn't be anywhere near as good as it is today without having built the Zoom2u business. And so AI implementation, we're going to be able to test that, use that in a real life example and take those learnings and then deploy that into Locate2u so that our customers can then use AI to be able to improve the way in which their business is actually operating. So it's going to be interesting to see where we're going to use that, but there's definitely going to be elements of AI that's going to be used inside of the Locate2u and also the Zoom2u business.
Okay, so you think it's still important to have the human touch with certain interactions?
Yeah, definitely. I think what AI is going to do initially is going to take away the need to do a lot of these mundane tasks that can just be automated, but you're still going to have obviously a human element to sales or having meetings with people, and I don't think we're ever going to get away from that. But I think, can we make this process and a lot of these operational tasks much faster and more efficient? Definitely. And I think businesses will see some cost savings by doing that.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's definitely the direction things are moving in. So what everyone is dying to know, what does a day in the life look like for you and your team?
Yeah, so every day is different, and there's a lot of moving parts in terms of what we're working on at the moment. I spend a lot of my time working in the product, but also working with customers, and I really want to stay close to understanding what customer requirements are and how what we've built makes sense for their business. Different businesses use different elements of our product, and so understanding those use cases is really valuable. And then being able to talk to our development team around how best we can actually build our product to make it satisfy a range of different types of customers. So a lot of time in the product, there's also a lot of time spent in thinking about distribution and marketing and making sure that we've got the right strategies in place around acquisition of customers and the cost of acquiring those customers. And then just a general, spending time with different people inside of the business. A lot of it's spent problem solving. Ultimately, I see my job as problem solving and figuring out problems that we have and how we can actually go about solving those and removing roadblocks for our team. And from our team's point of view, they spend a lot of time working obviously different aspects of the business and working towards different goals that they may have, whether that's a weekly goal or it's a quarterly or monthly targets that they're working on. And so I think everyone's really focused on what we're building and where we're heading into the future. And I think for people part of the business is seeing this business evolve over the years has been really enjoyable, and being part of that process is, I think, a lot of people actually really enjoy.
So just going back, how do you stay close to customers and knowing what they want?
Yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of time looking through emails that come into us, live chats that come into us, but also taking phone calls and understanding, taking those calls and speaking to customers. Speaking to customers is really, really valuable, and I try and make myself fairly accessible to customers, so if they do have a concern, they can reach out to me and I can understand what those concerns are and then think about how we can make improvements in the business.
And so just finally, what is something investors don't often realise?
I think that probably the biggest thing, and I think investors are now starting to realise what we're building inside of the Z2U business. And if you look at our quarterly results, we're now over $500,000 in quarterly revenue for Z2U, and this is there's been a continuous quarters of growth over the last year or so in the Z2U business. And so I think people are starting to realise actually, this isn't just an idea, this is actually a product, and there's actually demand for this product. And it's not just for customers in Australia, there's customers overseas that are using it. It's great to see this quarter Mayo Clinic went from having a small user base with a smaller number of users to now increasing those numbers of user licenses. And so seeing this sort of starting to evolve, is really, really exciting. And understanding, I guess, what we built today is just the start of what we're building. There's a lot more in this ecosystem. I don't think necessarily a lot of investors understand what we're actually building out in this ecosystem. And it's the connection of these additional carriers that e-commerce and retail businesses will be able to get access to for their overflow work, but also these courier companies using the Z2U technology to provide their customers with a better experience, which will then allow these e-commerce and retail businesses that are using Z2U to get access to more carriers. And so it's a little bit confusing, but there's a lot to that ecosystem, and trying to understand what that looks like, I think, is really important from an investor point of view.
Well, that's it. Thanks, Steve. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope that this has been insightful for investors and prospective investors, and just to gain a little bit more of an understanding of the Zoom2u team and business.
Yeah, cool. No, I think I'm really happy to share as much as I can with investors, and I'd encourage investors, when they come along to the quarterly sessions where we do our webinars and talk about our results, to ask us as many questions as they can to really get an insight into what we're building here.